I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. We just finished reading the book of Joel because he most likely prophesied during the reign of Joash, which is where we are at in our histories. Now, the last thing we read in our histories was the first half of 2 Chronicles chapter 24 and 2 Kings chapter 12, I believe. This was Joash rebuilding the temple, or, ordering the rebuilding of the temple. Now, we will turn to 2 Chronicles, again, chapter 24. I also want to mention that this video does have a Joseph Smith translation in it. What the Joseph Smith translation is, this is an inspired translation or correction of the Bible done by Joseph Smith to restore those passages that had been lost over the years. Now, as I said, we read about him rebuilding the temple. Now we will read verses 15 to 22, and this is in the second half of the reign of Joash. So let us read this. But Jehoiada waxed old, and was full of days when he died, and 130 years old was he when he died. And they buried him in the city of David among the kings, because he had done good in Israel, both toward God and toward his house. So, now, remember, it said that as long as Jehoiada was alive, Joash was a righteous king. Now Jehoiada is dead. Now, I will say this is a very interesting thing here, because Jehoiada, if you remember, Jehoiada is said to be the wife of Joash's aunt. Now, Joash was 7 years old when he was made king. It means his aunt was likely in her maybe 30s. He reigns, well, he's been king maybe 25, 30 years now, which means his aunt would be in her 60s. 70-year difference there, if that timeline lines up. Maybe his aunt's older, but Jehoshaphat, that was his aunt's name. But anyways, Jehoiada, he's the only one that we see. We're given ages for kings because we're told how old they were when they became king and how long they reigned. But other than the kings of Judah, we are not told how long anybody lived, except Jehoiada. And the oldest of the kings only lived to be maybe 80, I think, in his 80s. So Jehoiada, he's living as long as they used to live before the time, well, in the time of Moses and the old patriarchs. It's very interesting that he lived that long. But that also means, as I said, he was 100 years old when he made Joash king. He was already 100. Anyways, let's stop rambling. Verse 17. Now after the death of Jehoiada came the princes of Judah and made obeisance to the king. Then the king hearkened unto them. And they left the house of the Lord God of their fathers, and served groves and idols. And wrath came upon Judah and Jerusalem for this their trespass. Yet he sent prophets to them to bring them again unto the Lord. And they testified against them, but they would not give ear. And the Spirit of God came upon... Okay, before we continue. Was Joel one of these prophets? It says multiple prophets are sent. So it could have been that it was during this time of wickedness that Joel is prophesying. Saying, look, you're going to be experiencing this... a drought of the blessings of God, and foreign armies invading like swarms of locusts and all this. It fits. But let us continue. Verse 20. And the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, Thus saith God, Why transgress ye the commandments of the Lord, that ye cannot prosper, because ye have forsaken the Lord? He hath also forsaken you. And they conspired against him, and stoned him with stones at the commandment of the king in the court of the house of the Lord. Thus Joash the king remembered not the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done to him, but slew his son. And when he died, he said, The Lord look upon it, and require it. And we're going to end it there for now. So remember, after Jehoiada dies, his good counsel is replaced by the counsel of the princes of Judah. And the princes of Judah had been idol worshippers for several years. I mean, Athaliah, during the reign of Jehoram of Judah, it was like 18 years, and then 6 years of Athaliah, and then they turned back to it. And he listens to the princes of Judah instead of the prophets. Why this sudden reversal? It seems to me that he never really was converted to the Lord, that he acted on the influence of Jehoiada. And when that influence was gone, his own natural tendencies started to show. But he has fallen to the point of murder. It says he ordered the death of Zechariah. And remember, Jehoiada was his uncle. And so Zechariah is a cousin. This is a family affair. Now, let us look. There's this one small Joseph Smith translation here. Not a big one. Right in that last verse, verse 22. It says, after he slew Zechariah, it says, and when he died, he said, the Lord look upon it and require it. That's the King James, but Joseph Smith changed this to, he said, the Lord look upon me and require me. Makes it a bit more personal. I mean, it's the same thing. It's not a profound change, not a profound difference. And that it's still him saying, look upon the act of Joash and require it at the hand of Joash. You know. But now it's not just look on the act of Joash, it's remember me specifically. Makes it much more personal. Anyways, we will leave that there, and in the next few videos we'll be reading, I believe, both in Kings and 2nd Chronicles in the next few videos, so we will see you there.